The conclusion that she really couldn't watch us like that because we also had other cousins and an aunt that was young and into the streets also. So me and my sisters was put in a foster home.
He basically had the sole responsibility for himself and his siblings, you know, raised them, as he said, on the mean streets of New York.
I went back with my mother in a low poverty area, drug infested, domestic violence in the home, with my mother's boyfriends, more drugs, alcohol. I watched the police come to the house numerous of times, the drug selling, going to court with my mother because she had to go to court.
On the streets, amidst the poverty, obstacles at home, and the drugs, he learns an entirely new form of expression.
It became a hobby for me to block out my frustrations and, you know, my misfortunate life. And sports also helped me channel that anger into something positive.
I think in high school he was searching as to what he wanted to do, and I think what kept him on a straight and narrow, and what kept him in school and out of a lot of things, was the sports. That really centered him as far as a lot of things that he could have gotten into.
We was in the cafeteria at lunch, and I was like, yo, let's try to make a record, because my uncle knew Big Daddy Kane and MC Shan and G-Rap and individuals like that back in the days. So I was like, yo, let's talk to Uncle Bourne and get a record deal.
Word spreads of Long Island's underground sensation, and former EPMD member, now producer extraordinaire, Eric Sermon, and rap icon Redman see Keith as a star in the making.
I was in my basement, and a couple of my boys was over, and K-Solo had brought Keith Murray over.
He said, yo, I got this kid named Keith Murray. He's real nice. Eric said, all right, bring him downstairs, see what he got. So Eric started playing beats, and I just blacked out, you know?
I think Keith Murray said like one line, that was it. I just knew that I was gonna, you know, be working with him.
Keith's strength has been tested, but his emotional reserves are tapped with the death of his mother and sister.
My pops died when I was in 8th grade due to alcoholic-related issues. My mother died in '92 due to complications of the liver with AIDS. She was an intravenous drug user. Had my sister, Christina, 15 years old. She had contracted HIV. They didn't know. She died 15 years old.
Despite setbacks at home, Keith moves forward. Jive Records makes Murray's debut the centerpiece of their 1994 catalog. The Most Beautifulest Thing is in heavy rotation on radio stations everywhere.
Oh, Keith Murray's talking about women, and, you know, I thought about, oh, wow, it's great that he's finally saying, making people feel good about themselves, and he's not staying in a box and only talking about a certain number of things. But I knew the street was hot, and I knew it was his time.
Murray went to college and he studied English. People used to always be like, yo, beautifulest ain't a word, you know, but he can do that because he was so ill with the rhyme.
They tried to sign him originally, but Eric Sermon jerked me and brought him to Jive originally. And I was really pissed off about that, especially when The Most Beautifulest Thing in the World came out. It's one of my favorite records.
If you're an MC, you gotta understand where Murray coming from. He was the gutter. He came out of Hostile with a razor blade in his mouth. His first video, like, yo, it's 96 degrees in the shade. Before I catch blood on my blade, I take the frustration to the stage. This nigga, he was serious with his.
By industry standards, Murray's sales are soft at 300,000. Still, he goes on to achieve gold record status, but trouble brews.
My second single comes out, Get Lifted. I'm on tour with Biggie, and Biggie like, yo, Murray, let me talk to you for a minute, man. I was like, what's up? He was like, I'm concerned about your album. It just stopped at like 400. It completely stopped. And there's no need for that. And I'm like, you know, I know it's an issue I'm dealing with, man. You're right.
People were saying, yo, where's your promotion? Where's your marketing? Where's your, you know, where's your team at? Nobody's, you know, nobody know your records in the stores. Nobody's even know you're coming out.
I had Eric Sermon. I was signed to his production company. So I used to go to Jive and talk to Barry Weiss, the president, and A&R about the life of my album. They used to tell me, yo, well, you need a manager, come do it. Why do I need a manager when it's my life, when it's my work, and it's just stopped? So we couldn't resolve the issue of the units moving.
Unhappy with Jive's promotional efforts, Murray lashes out and blames the company for sabotaging his career.
I went to Eric and said, listen, I want to get off Jive because I feel that I'm not being marketed, promoted, and represented right. I got 2 of the biggest singles out, and I'm not moving units. So now they're like, well, you can't get off the label, they won't let you. I'm like, why not?
If you an artist and you out on the road, busting your butt, doing radio, doing shows, Keith Murray did everything. He likes the stage. He liked performing. He loved the fans. So if I'm out here doing this, then what are y'all doing back at the label? Nobody's doing nothing. So that's frustrated because, you out here doing what you're supposed to do, but the people at home ain't doing what's supposed to do. So that's why he blamed them.
With no-nonsense raps and 2 hit releases, Keith Murray is a sought-after star. But soon his life begins to imitate his gritty art. Keith is charged with assaulting a fan with a chair at a club in Connecticut.
So now I can't get off the label. Now I got a case. So now I got to go back to record under Jive, under these circumstances. I'm angry now. You know what I mean? So now it comes with Enigma.
Enigma was a CD that was slept on. When you talk about creative writing, production-wise, he showed his thing on that record. And again, it was overlooked.
The day Enigma dropped, I'm in court. Can't promote, can't market. It does like 400, three something, So now, I'm still, get me off the label. Get me off. I did 1 video for Enigma. 2nd video, it was a disaster. I just walked off the set and left. They're killing me. It killed me.
Rapper Keith Murray has become unhappy in his chosen profession. He feels his label is not doing enough to help him achieve as an artist. However, despite the problems with his label, his industry peers recognize his talent. Mary J. Blige, LL Cool J, and R. Kelly seek Murray out, and his already growing audience expands.
He went from a regular guy on the street to a major force in the game, where his colleagues was like, yo, Keith Murray. I remember Puffy used to call him all the time for Total, for Mary J. Blige, for Biggie, for whatever he had going on.
Keith Murray, Mary J. Blige. It was crazy. We did this at the Apollo stadiums, you know what I mean? And I can't get a record sold with Jive. And I got a hot album, Enigma. People tell me to this day, yo, that was your best album. And I'm like, yo, man, this has got to be a better way. I have to find some pivot that I can turn and change my career around. I have to.
Frustrated, a sad and withdrawn Murray sees no way out. He's about to be jailed.
So now I get convicted of the case. You're convicted. Convicted? 3 years? What? What the hell is this? Then, so I'm like, yo, I gotta get off the label. I have to. There's no other way around it. I just can't survive like this. I gotta go back in for money. I had no money, nothing.
The guilty verdict is a cruel blow. The legal process doesn't work for Murray, and a Connecticut judge orders him to serve 3 years in prison. Still asserting his innocence, the fast-fading rap star has other plans.
They send a letter in saying, well, you have to come in and do 3 years. No grace time, no nothing. So I went on the run, like on a lamb. 30 days, I had to get my affairs in order.
I know Keith Murray didn't hit that kid with a chair. And it wasn't a girl, it was a guy. You know what I mean? The whole case was all false.
I had real questions about whether or not Keith had actually been given, actually had received a fair trial, or whether or not it had been selective prosecution.
They had false evidence. The brother who brung Keith down, didn't even show up to court because, it was a whole thing. It was Connecticut. They were going to convict him anyway. It was Connecticut. We got a rapper in Connecticut. He's going to jail.
Keith came to grips with the fact that although we did not think he'd had a fair trial, but he had been convicted nonetheless, and he had been sentenced, and he was going to serve out his sentence.
Evidence walked into my lawyer's office. One of the promoters said, he signed the affidavit saying, I know Keith Murray didn't do it. I was standing there, head go to Alfred David. The judge and the DA denied it, saying that time went by too long for the evidence to come in. But this was evidence that walked in the door. This wasn't evidence you can discover.
Prison doesn't break rapper Keith Murray. It only makes him stronger. The ever-enterprising rapper records behind bars and reverses a downward spiral into a career-saving turn.
Well, I had studio equipment in jail. They let you have a keyboard and a machine to track your vocals. So in there is where I was honing my skills and things of that nature to make music.
I think God's plans is God's plan. So whatever he had for him, this had to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it like that. Everything happens for a reason.
Keith would call me and talk about programs that he wanted to get involved in with young people, and he actually did that. While he was incarcerated, he set up different kinds of speaking opportunities for young people, and often I tried to get him out to take him. Of course, that didn't work, so he would actually write things out for me that we would have students read to other young people, teenagers in particular, about not getting in trouble, staying in school, etc.
Fat Joe, Redman, and LL Cool J join a growing wave of protesters calling for Murray's release.
Keith Murray was not the person that needed to be incarcerated. He's the person that needed to come out and, express himself, and all of us wanted that for him. They wanted him to have an opportunity to do what he's doing now. He's a born artist. His words inspire people.
I think that he realized that as a man, I have a responsibility to myself and my family to really see things in a different, that my actions and my reactions to certain things can cause certain other actions that might not allow me to be free in the physical.
I think that with his resolve, his determination, his talent, his energy, etc., that what he has done is he's taken a negative and he's made it into a positive.
Keith Murray has learned many lessons during his period of incarceration. He's had opportunity to reflect on his life and the changes he needs and wants to make.
I let my songs cry. I'm able to write songs of my life, of my resentments, of my setbacks, of my pain, and make it therapeutic for me now to give to the people that feel that way too.
I think everybody in the evolution of themselves learn exactly who they are, where they came from, and how it applies to where they're going. And Keith is very much aware of where he's going.
A lot of the mistakes that Keith has made are mistakes that he made because of his early childhood. He has matured into a very responsible young man.
He's more conscientious of his environment and his surroundings and what's happening to him currently and what steps he plans to take in the future to prevent anything like that from happening again.
He realizes a sense of freedom on another front when Def Jam buys out his Jive Records recording contract.
I shot my deal, I put the word out, I wanted to get off Jive. I had got a new lawyer, that's who got the ball rolling. I had hired Eric as an independent producer and got a new lawyer. He said, yeah, we can get off Jive for a little bit of money. So I made the deal with Def Jam.
What I think Def Jam has done and will continue to do is get Keith out there, get people to touch him, get him easily accessible.
We're a label that's built on having great artists, built on signing different artists. I don't think there's an artist out there like Keith Murray.
I think that he's one of the most slept-on poets out there, and I think that people are not sleeping on him right now. He's just building up this energy, and people are, remembering how much they loved him, and they're giving him that same love that they are at his highest point.
They understand who I am. I'm hip-hop, in your face, wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I'm an entertainer, and I'm a hard worker.
I'm convinced that Keith will do very well professionally, and very important to me, that Keith will continue to be positive and be a positive influence on young people.
He returns to the studio, and a more mature Murray maps out a new release and titles it, He's Called Keith Murray.
I would say it's a combined effort of my last work. He's Keith Murray, the person.
Him being incarcerated changed him a lot because of, just the fact of the industry, the business, knowing that this is a business and that, you know, I used to rap, it was cool, you know, just to be on the scene, but like I said before, it was like, there's more than that.
Drugs, the streets, and poverty didn't stop him from realizing his hip-hop dreams. His conviction and the prison term that came with it made him tougher, wiser, and stronger. Now his deft combination of skill, wit, and gymnastic wordplay will be put to the test. As reinvigorated super rapper Keith Murray readies for a return to hip-hop's highest echelon.
Well, I don't have no black clouds over me right now no more. You know what I'm saying? The jail thing is done. The bad deal is done. Now I'm just going on tour, rekindling the love of my fans.
In every life, there is a turning point that defines us, shapes our destiny. This was TurnStyle, Keith Murray.